Today's episode is brought to you by Faith for the Grade, a youth mentoring organization committed to empowering young people through education, leadership, and entrepreneurship, building bright futures one student at a time. Now let's get started. Co-host of When the Ball Goes Flat. We're talking about life after the sport. Like I said, my name is Dorian. I'm a master barber here in Maryland with a strong passion of sports, the youth, and overall growth. Marcus, you can tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Coach Dorian. Yeah, Marcus Purnell from the Eastern Shore, originally Snow Hill. I always had passion for sports, and the greatest thing that I've learned over my lifetime, now that I'm standing close to being double nickels, is the importance of understanding how sports can translate into you utilizing those same skills that used to, you know, award you a jersey, put you on the All-Star team, put you in the game, whether you're a starter or a bench rider. How can you make the most of the talents that you have, and how can you make the most of the abilities and experiences that you got on the court? And Coach Dorian hit me up and said, "Hey man, did you catch the draft last night?" Oh yeah, we caught the draft. So we definitely want to hold just a quick forum just about the opportunities that the young men, especially the top 10 young men last night, they literally have an opportunity to change their families, their lives, and the lives of their families. And it's just one of those things where a lot of times we look at a draft, Coach Dorian, and we see 35, 36 players get drafted. But meanwhile, there was another 5,500 D1 players that were on the roster.
Yeah, right.
That were scoring points.
Mm-hmm.
And a
We're
lot of
making an
times
impact.
yeah, right,
Yep.
making a huge impact. And when we just take a look, Coach Dorian, at I mean, we know it's D2, we know it's D3, but everybody always talking D1, D1.
Right.
Some great things come out of D1, but I want everybody to think on a basketball squad. You think, what is it, Dorian? How many players? 12, 15? Who
12
you
to
think?
15 at the most. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if I got 365 teams, D1, which easily that number is there,
Mm-hmm.
there's at least 5,500 or so players that play but will not get drafted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we definitely want to talk about when the ball goes flat, because you still need to win
Regardless.
regardless, because that ball will go flat.
Yeah. And a lot of that determines how you win. A lot of times is your support system, the atmosphere that you're around, having coaches early in your career, not just waiting to take heed of advice when you get older and then you start to feel like it's too late. So I think a lot of the kids or athletes that have developed into savvy businessmen or have made the right decisions during their career as well as past their career, they've had that sound voice and, growing up, not just on the field or on the court, but off the field and off the court as well. Just being led by great examples to show them what to do and what not to do. And I think a lot of people take for granted of looking at what not to do, and they always look for the highlights and everything.
Yeah.
Learn a lot from lowlights too. Those are the biggest lessons. So, and I don't like the word loss. When we talk about wins and losses, I always take the L and put it as a lesson. So whatever lesson that you do get from it, it will turn into a W. It will turn into a win. So that's just a perspective that I have on life in general. Like, it's easy to get caught up on the negative into what happens. Like if you look at former athletes, Sebastian Telfair from New York, one of the top recruits to come out of New York, played in the league.
Yeah.
And they just did a documentary on him. He's back in Harlem in the project after making over 10 million or 100 million, whatever the million was.
Yeah.
But now you look at him, you hear him talk. He don't sound like he's depressed because he learned a lesson from it. So, but we're gonna do a recap of last night's draft. It was one of the deepest drafts since 3.
Right.
And I didn't realize that 9 out of the top 10 were freshmen.
Dorian, that's one thing that jumped out when I
9 out
did,
of the top
because
10 were freshmen. And then the
it,
other kid was a sophomore.
yeah, I was gonna say you still ain't get out
No.
because your juniors and seniors they coming
Mhm.
later, but these players are getting out. And one interesting fact, Dorian, is again, these kids are used to having income. So one difference, I guess, when we do look at those examples like Sebastian Talfair, is that he came from projects to money.
Mm-hmm.
So the cool part that we can be optimistic about is that these kids going through NIL, these kids maybe not having an NIL. One of my mentees in California, one of his friends don't have NIL, but gets collective money because he on the squad.
There we go. Yeah.
So because he on the squad, he got $43,000, didn't play 1 minute.
See,
43,000.
I don't think a lot of people understand the difference in NIL and collective. So just to give a quick breakdown of that.
Yeah.
When you hear NIL, everybody think that everybody's getting NIL money. No, they're not. Now, NIL stands for name, image, and likeness. Yeah. So if you ask yourself, how would I receive an NIL? They look at your name, they look at your image, and they gotta like you. That's not on everybody's team. Now you can have a player averaging 25, 30 points or whatever. He got a nice collective from the school, which the collective is the pot of money that's been put in from the alumni, from local, whoever. That's the money that they can lure you in with. Hey, come and play for us. We'll give you $100,000.
Yeah.
Name, image, and likeness is coming from the car dealership up the street, coming from the restaurants up the street. That's coming from the external things from the school because they like your name, they like your image, and they like you. That's where the extra money comes in. Mm-hmm. So you got two different pots of money. Now, I don't know if you know, but VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University, they don't have a football team. Last year alone, I didn't see what it was this year, but last year alone, every player on that roster got over $300,000 from the collective.
VCU. Some people listening Dorian may not even know what VCU stand for.
Yeah, but you know what? We know one person that went there, Sharon Mills.
Right. Rest easy, Mills. Definitely. My classmate over Virginia Commonwealth University.
When people hear NIL, kids can get NIL deals at a young age if they feel that they're going to be an influencer, they feel they're going to be an impactful player because of who they are, not because of what they do. Because there are kids that are on the bottom end of the bench getting more NIL money than the starter because they can represent another brand. Hey, we're going to pay you $200,000 to represent our, I don't know, socks.
Yeah. Even if they do that.
Yeah. Right. Because you got to be a good person.
Yeah.
Everything has to line up. Now, I don't know. I know AJ last year, AJ DeBanza, the number 1 pick that Washington got.
Yeah.
He has a different charisma about him. He's been trained.
Yeah.
He's been trained. He got a good leadership. His dad.
Long time.
Yeah. He's and I think a lot of that has to do with his culture too, because he's Jamaican.
Yeah. The parental. Yeah.
But people were questioning, well, not really questioning, but just looking at the fact, man, he seems so calm. He, and some people even go to say, well, it don't seem like he's appreciative of what's happening to him. I'm like, at the end of the day, it's not the celebratory thing like it used to be, how we, the fans, would look at these guys about to get drafted. Like, oh man, their life is about to change. That night. He made $7 million last year.
Right.
$7 million last year. Darren Peterson made like $3 million. This is before the NBA. So they're used to something already. You don't see many tears like you did back in the day. Because we know the story of LeBron when, they had the Hummer and $50,000 and whatever. Like they're getting money at a young age before they really get it.
And to that point, Coach Dorian, you know, just being the number one pick of the entire draft used to change your life.
Yeah.
AJ looked like,
Just another day in the park.
yeah, he looked like, okay, where I'm supposed to be in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, like when I'm gonna get back to my hotel, like it just did not feel or look the same from my standpoint, my viewpoint.
Mine either.
You know,
And his contract, 4 years, $69 million as a rookie, number one pick.
as a rookie. So like when you gave that understanding of the $7 million, and now, you know, I'm not good with math, but I know how to divide 4 by 70, and that's close to 80. That's almost 20 million a year. So I know
Exactly.
he's making in the middle 15 million a year. So
Yeah.
now you have to ask yourself, you know, who's managing his money? You know, who's managing his brand? You know, what's his mental wellness, you know, gonna be like? He's now making double what he was making last year in college.
Yeah.
So I think you know, Biggie and Puff back in the day said, "What more money, more problems." Sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a
Yeah.
lot of responsibility that comes with it.
A lot. And I don't know if I think overall the college game will become better because you're gonna have players staying longer. Because when we just broke down the numbers of the kids that are possibly going to the league and the ones that won't, if I know I'm not gonna make it to the league, if I'm not getting no buzz by my sophomore, junior year of what my draft stock gonna be, I gotta stay. I'm gonna ride this thing out, and I know I can get 100 to 200,000 each year to play.
Yeah.
I gotta ride this out, and that's what I think is gonna make the college game a lot better because you're gonna have a lot more juniors, seniors, fifth year seniors, grad students playing college, and that's gonna trickle down to where the recruitment is gonna be less for high school kids coming into college.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Now the NBA is gonna start getting more developed kids, I think, or young men.
And to that point, Coach Dorian, on the backside, you know, when you're looking at players that are gonna be going longer in, juniors and seniors, and how coaches like Patino said, I'm not recruiting in high schools. What am I recruiting high schools for when I'm gonna go and cherry pick a couple of juniors and a senior that's continuing already knows how to study at night. Right. Already knows how to weight train when I'm not there. You know, so what that says to, again, some of our high school students that are starters, you know, that normally would have had that scholarship to come on in. You know, now they need to begin to understand what their alternatives can be. Not to say they can't go to college, Dorian, because we know junior colleges, community colleges now, they welcome that talent that need to come in this farmhouse, so to speak. And that's going to raise their level of different attention that those schools are going to get. Again, when the junior colleges once upon a time were for the kid that was truly developmental, now junior college is for the kid that, man, just didn't get an interest from a D1 school because of the portal. You know, because of that situation. So now the thing I tell kids, like what you were stating a while ago, you know, if you are a guard, like we talk about the number 2 pick, we talked about AJ being number 1. Number 2 pick was a guard, Darren Peterson. Out of Kansas, right? So we know some of the question marks on him, you know, was about his you know, his want to, his desire, his love of the game, or is he just good at it? You know, so whatever it is, he got paid. And NBA is, last time I checked, NBA is guaranteed deals. So they're going to have that first contract regardless. But now Dorian, for the player that now isn't necessarily going D1, this is where they have to understand, in my opinion, the leadership that they bring just because of the position they played. So somebody that was the point guard, somebody that was the 2 guard, you know, they were a leader of the team typically. You know, they usually have the ability to communicate, you know. So this is where that person needs to take those skills and ask themselves, if I'm a leader and I'm a communicator, maybe I'll train players in the summertime to get
Right.
me an income going. Maybe I'll coach. You know, as I'm in school and I come out in the summertime, maybe I'll coach a AAU team. You know, maybe I'll do some media training so that when I'm out in the summertime, I'll go get a job at WBOC, you know, for ABC or CBS affiliate somewhere. You know, these are things that, again, with when the ball goes flat, we're here to let you know that there's just not enough seats available and your ball will eventually go flat. But the thing that they cannot take from you is those skills that you've learned while playing a sport that you love.
Yeah, and then you
And
can
that
always
sport
be
can,
connected. You
yeah,
can stay connected to the sport
yeah,
regardless. It don't matter. Like you said, you can, even if you want to get into journalism, you become a sports journalist, now you got access to every sport that you want, you know, and it's always, like you said,
right,
showing the leadership, providing an impact, man, is more key than anything, because that goes back to NIL. The reason why you get your job, the reason why you get hired is because of your NIL. People don't realize, they think it's just sports related, but doing things in
yeah,
general, your name, image, and likeness means more than anything, you know? And you know, I was watching some of the kids last night that were getting drafted. You know, they
yeah,
had, some of their heads were dropping because they were steady falling down in the draft, the numbers. But you know, you got to question and ask yourself, what could I have done better, or what could I have done more of? And it's going to be something that slipped through the cracks that, you know,
yeah,
some of them that's not even there probably will be a star in the league, you know, in the next couple of years because they had that
yeah.
opportunity to shine. But you got to ask yourself, what could I have done better? You know,
When
was
opportunity,
I around the right people?
mm-hmm.
That we know it's a lot in who you know, not what you know. You know.
That's right. And to that point, you know, again, now it's time for the pivot. Now it's time for the pivot.
Yeah.
You sitting there thinking about, I'm falling, they disrespecting me, I'm falling. No, ask yourself, even if I fall all the way out, like Coach Dorian just said, what could I have done my sophomore summer? What could I have done my senior year when everybody recruited me and I kind of felt like I didn't need to do a whole lot? There's always something that we can be doing to get ourselves better. When you brought up the name, image, and likeness being more than just about being your talent, am I a person that people love to be around?
That's it. Yeah.
Why is Shaquille Shaq still relevant? Because people love Shaq.
Love Shaq.
Why is Charles Barkley still relevant? Because people love Charles Barkley's shock factor. Gonna say whatever, do whatever, whenever. And why did Kenny Smith, who was a dope player, we all love Kenny. He wasn't boisterous. He wasn't a show off, but he's a leader.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a leader, and he brings a certain perspective to that team that they're on, sitting at that desk, now being analysts.
And literally everything that you're saying goes back to like how we're just saying name, image, and likeness, which is basically your brand. What are you known for? What are these people saying about you when you leave the room? That and that's what brings them to you, because they want to know that you can represent what they stand for. So if my brand represents, positivity, leadership, being firm, assertive, things like that, and if you're just the total opposite because your brand is inconsistent, your brand is not being clean, your brand is we can't invest in you to represent what we are because of who and what you are.
Yeah.
So Shaq's brand, we know what Shaq stands for. We know what how he is. Barkley, just like you said, for these companies, these big broadcast networks to reach out to these guys, you got T-Mac now, you got Carmelo, they got all former players, which is smart.
Yeah.
to be the commentator and the analyst for these games now, but they have certain players, the ones that provide a certain impact and leadership to the younger ones that they know they're going to want to look up to. They didn't ask AI to do it. When we,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? They won't ask Ja Morant to do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's certain people that want. You look at Draymond. Draymond know how to turn that thing on and off. He get on the court.
Perfect example.
He's one way, but he knows how to articulate when he gets off. He knows how to turn it off when he gets around certain people.
Yeah.
So you got people that hate Draymond, then you got the other ones that love him because of how he is. He's versatile. You got to be versatile.
Yep. And to understand it, and again, there's nothing wrong with, you know, the AIs of the world being who they are.
Exactly.
You know, John Morant understands the millions of dollars that maybe he don't feel is worth him not being who he wants to be. You know, but the understanding again is the fact that the interesting point, I think a lot of times, Coach Dorian, is being able to take criticism. Being able to take criticism. You know, you should really, as a young man, as a young boy, you should really be able to understand, I'm hearing all these great things about me while they're in my face. But who in my circle is willing to really tell me that my breath stinks? Who's in my circle is willing to tell me that I got a booger up my nose? You know, because again, anybody that's willing to tell you some corrective things, they really care about you.
They care about you, yeah.
Yeah. They ain't got to say things in front of the crowd, but when they get you one-on-one and they talking to you, the thing I tell kids and young men, young boys, listen. When you're in a one-on-one situation, listen. If you're in a group session and it's to inspire you or make you better, listen. Mom Ruth used to say, you got more ears than mouth, so shut up and listen. You know, it's important that everybody that simply has something to say negative about you, that they're willing to share with you in a one-on-one environment, in a reduced environment, that allows you to be bigger and better when you hit the public environment. You know, so anything that I don't do well, anything that I just got off a call this morning at 11 o'clock with one of the leaders in my organization, in my company, you know, and he spent the first 10, 15 minutes, Dorian, telling me about the great things I'm doing. Because I'm a beast when it comes to one-on-one, you know, counseling, presentations with groups and doing, you know, workshops and things. But he got on me because he said, Marcus, you lazy when it comes to outreach. You're not going downtown to Morehouse or Spelman anymore doing your outreach. You're not going to Athens, University of Georgia, doing your outreach anymore. And I need to see that pick up. Now, if we were in a team meeting, I wouldn't want him to drag me like that about how I've been sucking the last quarter, been not going to university, what you've been doing with your time. No, but when we're one-on-one, I need to shut up and I need to listen. And Dorian, the other thing that I want people to understand is he didn't just wake up this morning in June, almost July, saying Marcus ain't been on since 2026 got here. He could have said it in February. He could have said it in March. He could have said it in April. He could have said it hopefully before May because now school is out. But he didn't say it until today, this morning. And again, he didn't say it in front of a team. He said it to me one-on-one. So now I already know what his expectation is for me next school year. I mean, come on. So Dorian, why am I gonna say no? That ain't true. When Keisha Lance Bottoms had her election ceremony back in March, I was there. When Chairman Bryan had his book over at Clark, I was there. That ain't what he talking about. He talking about your outreach,
taking an
not
initiative.
You being at an event with a champagne in your hand.
Taking initiative, do the grassroots stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So be prepared. Be prepared to take criticism. Be prepared to shut up and listen.
I always say, listen with your ears, not with your mouth.
Man, tell me about it.
So people are quick
Tell
to
me
talk,
about
and whatever you said that went over top of their head. And to be honest, that's the today's generation of kids. For some reason, it's just a culture of them. They know it all but know nothing.
And Dorian, I'm gonna tell you, it's not their fault.
No.
Because there's the same, in my opinion, it's not y'all's fault. It is the change of society. Okay. There was a player that went to jail over the weekend. Okay, because he hit his child. He beat his child. So you got society trying to tell me, do you know how many years Mount Ruth Purnell would have done? Do you know how many years Berta Purnell would have done? Okay, they would have been repeat offenders.
Mm-hmm.
But because they parented in such a way, by the time I'm walking and talking at 13, 14, you ain't got to hit me no more.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
I already know the consequence.
Yeah.
And when I get in the street and Sister Carrie gonna call Mom Ruth before I get home, Sister Carrie gonna correct me in the street before I get home. Now let Sister Carrie correct a child in the street that mom is trying to fight Sister Carrie. Why you gotta talk to my baby like that? Why you gotta call him out his name like that?
Right.
So, Dorian, a lot of the things that have changed for me, I blame on us.
Yeah.
Because we are uncle and auntie. We are them. And that's why it really takes an understanding of what love really is.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma beat me. My mom yelled at me. But I know they love me at the end of the day. I know they love me. And back then, the words sometimes wasn't even uttered.
Yeah, no. Right.
Wasn't even stated.
Yeah, it wasn't said a lot in the house at all. But it was examples shown, and we were equipped enough to realize that you don't got to tell me that every day. I know that you do, But I don't know if you like back on the college.
Yeah.
I think the colleges value more what the players and athletes can give the colleges than the actual benefit of what the college gives the player. Because back in the day, I don't think players are really selecting majors no more. I think they just go and doing general studies until their money run out, and then they say they're going to go back and focus on what it is they focus on. Because back in the day when we watched CBS basketball on Saturdays, Georgetown versus Syracuse, the Big East, whatever, every Saturday when that come on,
yeah,
you got Billy Owens at the line, or you got Patrick Ewing at the line,
shooting two
on the screen comes up. Number 30, Billy Owens Jr., major political science.
Oh yeah.
You don't see that no more.
The
only thing you see on the little ticker when the person comes up at the foul line, you see their name, you see their number, and you might see their field goal percentage. It has everything to do with the game. Back in the day, we would see their name, the number, their what classification they are, and African American studies. I don't know what job you get with that.
Okay.
Elementary education. You would see all of their majors, what they majored in. You don't see that at all anymore because, for one, these players are staying a year and they're gone, 2 years and they're gone, and they got so much money in their pocket where the school is, I'm just assuming the school is saying, well, we done paid him. He's making our money now by being on TV. Good riddance.
And Dorian, we know that all of them have a major.
Yeah. That's the only
they all have a major.
Yeah.
So once again, it starts at the generational level of the decision maker that runs CBS, that runs Fox, that runs NBC, that runs ESPN, that it's not important to them no more.
Exactly.
Because it's almost like, again, they're here to be entertained and can care less about what you're majoring in. And these are things that I'm glad you brought that perspective, Coach Dorian, because these are things we want our young people to recognize. The machine is no longer caring about your studies.
Right. Right.
But we all know that you should care. We all should know that you should still know what your abilities and your skills and your gifts are off the court or off the field. Because at some point, and I don't know about Coach Dorian, but I can tell you, when my body hit 38, it changed.
Mm-hmm.
It changed. I about 32, I started feeling a little different, but by 38, it was over. Now,
Yeah.
if I'm supposed to be on this planet still for another 6, at 30, at 35 is when I can say I really felt it. So if I'm gonna be on this planet, arguably another 35 years
Mm-hmm.
and make it to 70, and I'm no longer able to run and jump and maneuver my body like a player needs to when we all play the sport,
Mm-hmm.
it's likely that I'm gonna have to do something different to generate income.
Right.
So
Right.
again, this is when we're bringing back the fact that, when the ball goes flat, you had AJ, you had Peterson, you had Boozer, you had Caleb Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
You had all these players last night making up the top 4, top 5, but at some point, their body gonna change. It's gonna run out for them.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Dorian brought up now players are easily transferring into the analyst position.
Mm-hmm.
They're easily pivoting and moving into a position of being coach, being trainer,
Mm-hmm.
running a whole scale operation based on the talent that they have.
Mm-hmm.
They may not be able to perform it anymore, but it's still locked in and you cannot take it away up here.
But imagine if they majored in broadcast journalism, communications, this and the third. A lot of them are really making it because of the backing that they already had. You know what? Let me go ahead and create this studio, and I'll get somebody else in there to train.
Yeah,
Like it's a difference, man. And I'm just glad that people like a LeBron, to me, which is the epitome of success all the way around.
giving back.
He put all his boys on. He made sure they went to school, finished, got what they needed, so that they can all benefit from his empire while having their own separate empires underneath. That's creating generational wealth for sure. Jalen Rose got his own school. I love to see when guys start their own institutions to give back
Mm-hmm.
to the up and coming guys. You look at Deion, what Deion is doing out in Colorado. People transferring out. Yeah, that's going to happen. But one thing they won't be able to take from them is what Deion already instilled in them. And one thing he said, no matter where you go, you're going to take your traits with you. So if you don't work hard for me, that ain't going to turn on when you go somewhere else.
And he's proven that time and time again when they do leave. Yeah. And there's always going to be an anomaly.
Yeah.
Always going to be one that's going to turn on I think that tackle, he's going to be straight.
Yeah.
I
think he'll be straight.
But look at the other 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 that were a starter, and good luck hearing their name again.
They think that grass is greener on the other side when they never watered the grass they were already standing in to begin with.
How about it?
It goes back to putting in the work beforehand and going back, seeing what you could have done better back then to see, we don't like doing self-evaluations, and
it goes back to taking criticism, critique.
Yeah, exactly.
You 5-star, but when you're standing in front of Deion Sanders and he asks you, did the star just fall on you? Did 2 stars fall on you? You really a 3-star, but 2 stars fell out the sky and fell on you to make you a 5-star, and you let that, I'm leaving, I'm going to Florida. Just because he says something to wake you up that you're playing like a 3-star, not a 5. Show me the 5 so we can show the world who you are.
And what a lot of people, and here's another thing I'm going to touch real quick.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to these ratings, a lot of them are buying them ratings. They're going to these camps and they got the back and, hey, can you make him a 4-star at least? We'll give you X, Y, Z. All right, cool. We'll put him at 4-star, such and such top 10. He's a 4-star now. But we know players from the shore that are
All the
better than
time.
half of these players that didn't even have the access of
Yeah.
the luxury gyms, the workout,
Yeah.
whatever.
Facilities. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because where we come from, it come from within. A lot of stuff isn't, it's not bought. It's earned, not given. So,
And that's why when the ball goes flat, podcast. That's why when Fade for the Grade, organization. That's why we are here, because we are committed to making certain that you all know you're a winner. You were a starter.
mm-hmm.
You made the team. It's something to be said about going in that next morning, Dorian, is it not? To see whether your name is on the clipboard that's hanging up at the gym.
Man, yeah.
So if your name was ever hanging up at the gym and you saying to yourself, I made the team, that's accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to what Coach Dorian said, but what more can you do?
Mm-hmm.
You made the team, but you also got to see in geometry.
Yep. Yeah.
Keep trying to accomplish.
Student athlete.
On and off the court.
First.
Student first.
Mm-hmm.
One athlete, student athlete.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these are things, again, we're trying to definitely want everybody to know, look, we are your uncle. We are him. Those of you that may not had a dad in your house like I did, I am your role model when it comes to being some of the things that maybe you need a man in your life to tell you. Because again, when I think about something that I've been watching lately, the Henrys, I don't know if you caught it, Dorian, Chris Henry, the wide receiver from Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
He was on the team with Ocho and TJ Houshmandzadeh. Uh-huh. He got killed on the truck or what have you. And his kids are now, 5-star basketball player in Arizona. Is the youngest one, DeMarcus, and his son Chris Henry, 5-star wide receiver at Mater Dei in California.
Mm-hmm.
And the daughter that Chris basically, she looked at Chris as a father figure, but he's the only daddy she knew. So a lot of things that he put in her and pushed on her, she went from not being able to play basketball at all, but he built the will and desire in her that when he passed away, she wanted to train and learn how to play basketball. She's D1 at Ohio State right now.
Wow.
And so we're talking about a family of 3 that lost their dad. But again, within them was something that is innate for the 2 sons. Within them is something that was inspired by the daughter that, he simply was a father to.
Wow.
A father to her. So again, it's all about understanding your team is everything. You play with a team on the court and on the field. Who is your team off the field?
Off the field, right.
Off the court. And that's what Fade for the Grade. That's what When the Ball Goes Flat podcast. Mm-hmm. That's what it's all about, being that team that you need to succeed.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep. So, man, great first episode. It's the first of many. Be looking out for, we got a lot of guests lined up. We'll give you weekly updates of who will be on. These episodes are brought to you by Fade for the Grade nonprofit. We're a 501c nonprofit organization, reaching out to the communities, helping these kids with financial literacy, showing the importance of grooming, upkeep, entrepreneurship, everything to help these kids win in life. So about to sign out. I'm Coach Dorian Purnell, and this is Coach Marcus Purnell. We're signing out from When the Ball Goes Flat. Peace.
Every time, nothing but net.